Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next session of the Chainlink Hackathon. We are incredibly excited for you to be here. Earlier today, we did Foundry testing, we did truffle testing, and now we're learning about building full stack dApps fast. We have Ivan himself from the Moralis team here to talk to us about working with Moralis and building these full stack dApps. Ivan, how you doing?
All good, Patrick. Good to be here. Excited to explain full stack dApp development and also take Q&A at the end.
Excellent. Well, with that, I'll jump off. You can take it away.
Perfect, guys. Perfect. Thanks a lot, Patrick. So, as you can see on the screen today, we're going to discuss full stack dApp building. And of course, we want to build dApps quickly because if you are in this hackathon, you have to move fast. You have a time ticking against you. You are, in a way, you can say you're working against the clock. Also, we will ensure that all the tools, all the libraries, all the different utilities that we're showing you here in this video, they're easy to use, they're easy to get started with. Because if you are in this hackathon, look, you don't have time to spend like 3 months learning something. You need fast, you need easy, and you need tools that are scalable. Because in case, imagine your dApp becomes big, you don't want to start from scratch. You want to keep building, on the tech you've used in order to start and take it further, take it to mainstream, take it global. And look, it can happen. It can absolutely happen. You can never underestimate the possibilities in crypto. So even if you are in this hackathon, big things may happen way faster than you imagine. So first and foremost, who am I? My name is Ivan. I'm the CEO of Moralis, and we are focusing a lot on full stack Web3 development. And of course, a good question is, what is full stack? What is full stack Web3 development? And there are many answers to that because this space is developing. This whole tech stack itself is developing a lot and it's changing a lot. We have new chains, we have new different tools, we have new different levels of abstraction, and we're still figuring all of this out. But if you're looking on the big picture, what is full stack? What is full stack in Web3? It's a way where you can speak to smart contracts, and then you can connect your smart contracts to your backend because you are going to need a backend for many use cases. For example, when you look at the OpenSea use case, they store all the orders in their backend, so you don't have to pay gas fee when you're actually, for example, minting your NFT or when you're putting in an order. So there are a lot of use cases where you need backend interaction with smart contracts, and then of course you need front-end interaction. When something happens on chain, you want to show something in your front end. When somebody does a trade, you want to maybe alert something in your front end or send an email or send a notification. You want to update the UI. So on a big picture level, when we're speaking about building full stack Web3 dApps, we're speaking about tools and workflows that allow you to easily speak to contracts, to your backend and to your frontend, and have this very smooth interaction between the three components of a dApp, which are, of course, smart contracts, backend, frontend. So that's the goal. And if you really think about the features that you need in order to build a dApp, no matter which use case you have, no matter which idea you have, I'm sure you have a lot of ideas for this hackathon, but no matter which idea exactly you have in mind, you will probably all need to do the following things. Most likely, you will have to log in a user. And in Web3, just logging in a user, it's a lot of work because you may be thinking that it's just a simple Ethers.js line of code and that's it. But when you use Ethers.js or Web3.js, you don't have a web session. You don't have a connection with your backend. It's not like you have an authenticated users and you have a session established with a user profile in your backend. So you have to figure that out. Then you have to figure out how to fetch the assets of the user. Maybe you need NFTs, maybe you need their tokens, maybe you need their transaction history. You have to figure that out. Then no matter which dApp you're building, most likely you will have to watch real-time events. So for example, when something happens on chain, you have to do something. Something happens on chain, you have to send an email. Something happens on chain, you have to update the UI. Something happens on chain, you need to send a push notification. It's very, very common, and no matter the use case, you probably will have to do it. You will probably have to figure out how to send assets, maybe send NFTs or initiate transfers, and you will have to interact with smart contracts. You cannot really see it here at the bottom, but it says interact with contracts. So most likely, you will need to do all of these things, or at least some of them, and in this video, we will explain to you how to do it. Now, the mistake that you may be making is, if you're starting a new project, is that you would like to implement all of this yourself. And the way you could implement all of this yourself is by spinning up an RPC node, syncing the node, or you can use a node provider and do that. Then you quickly realize that by speaking to an RPC node, let's say you have an RPC node connection, great, you quickly realize you cannot do anything with the node. The node itself is very primitive, low-level technology. The node cannot even tell you what NFTs your user has. If I have an address, I cannot ask the node about the NFTs that the address has, because the node, it's a very, very good piece of tech for consensus, for making the blockchain work. It's a very bad tool if you're a developer. It's a horrible tool, because if you use a node directly, you have to build the whole backend around it. So for example, you have to figure out how to log in a user, what we just mentioned a few minutes ago, user lifecycle. You need to figure out how to verify user signature so that they can actually get authenticated with your backend in a web session way, that you establish a web session. Then you need to sync smart contracts. You have to index smart contracts in case you are having a specific use case where you need to index your own smart contract. You need to use the graph. You have to run the graph. You need to connect the RPC node to the graph. You have to figure out how to do sockets. In order to serve any data to your front end, you need to build an API, you have to have a database. I mean, all of this is like a full-time backend job. And you are in this hackathon, and in order for you to build all of this, if you're building your project around an RPC node, you're gonna end up with RPC hell. So this is how we call it, RPC hell, where you basically now have a ginormous, a gigantural, how do you say it, gigantural backend infrastructure that you now have to build, maintain, you have to update it. And in many cases, you're gonna have many issues, because you see all of these different technologies we use, whether it is the nodes, whether it is the graph, whether it is a lot of other crypto technologies, they're all early stage, which means that there are still many bugs in them. And they're all great technologies, by the way. But you just have to understand that in order to use them, and in order to use them well, it's a full backend team, it's a full backend operations team to keep it running, all right? And it will probably be better with time, but if you are building in this fashion, you need the backend team, you need the operations team. It's very expensive for you to add new chains, because things that you may build for Ethereum may not be scalable for Binance Chain, because Binance Chain, as you know, has 2,000 transactions per second. It's a whole different level of throughput. Now suddenly, you just want to build the dApp, you want to build some NFT use case, you want to build some game, and suddenly you find yourself being a big data engineer. Suddenly you're sitting there with Kubernetes clusters. Suddenly you're sitting there with load balancing. Now you have to figure out all of this thing. This is not what you signed up for as a Web3 developer. You signed up to build Web3 use cases, not to build a career in big data and massive scalable infrastructure field. All right. So what do? You don't do this. And of course, what if there was a solution? What if there was a solution so you don't have to do this? What if there was an easy way to build full stack without building all of this, without being in RPC hell? What if there was a full stack platform, basically, all right? you know where I'm leading. What if there was something that is so nice, it's full stack, it allows you to talk with smart contracts, login users, front and back and bam, 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 with easy SDKs as well? What if there was something like this? Well, believe it or not, this is what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Moralis.io. You should go right now to your browser and enter Moralis.io, because Moralis is all about creating a very nice user experience in terms of dev experience. So dev user experience, where you can build all of these cross-chain things, all of these full stack things, without having a full backend operation, and without having this whole monster you now have to maintain on the backend. And really, in order to understand the full stack workflow, we have to divide it into 4 different parts. So number 1 is Moralis identity, which I will soon show you, which takes care of this logging in of users, which takes care of session management, which takes care of fetching assets about the users, and so on and so forth. Next, you have Moralis real time, which takes care of whenever something happens on chain, you can act on it. Whether it is that users move assets, whether it is the smart contracts emit events, something else happens, we give you very nice SDK, very nice tools to do this. And as I mentioned, we have a bunch of different SDKs for different platforms. Whether it is that you build a website, a Unity game, maybe you just want to use this in your own backend, integrate it with your own backend and use it as a backend technology. We can assist you with that, and I will show you how to do it. And of course, then we also have Moralis APIs, which I will show you as well, for fetching NFT metadata, NFT transfers, accounts, tokens, balances, portfolios, all of that good stuff. So we start with what? We start with a reminder. Okay, we start with a reminder that this is all cross-chain and cross-platform. And we start with Moralis identity, where you can find a lot of this info at docs.moralis.io. So with Moralis identity, the whole problem that we saw, that we wanted to solve, is that you may have a user and the user may have different wallets. They have wallet connect. Another user comes, they have another wallet. A third user comes, they have a third wallet. And how do you ensure that you can log in them not only across wallets, but across different blockchains easily and establish a web session? So this is what Moralis identity is all about, where you can write moralis.authenticate, and instantly, no matter which wallet, no matter which chain, the user gets a pop-up where they connect the wallet, and you, in your Moralis dashboard, you have now a user record. You have a user record, and you have an established web session with this backend, with Moralis, so that when you want to save something about that user, let's say that a user logs in and you want to add a nickname, or a user logs in and they start filling out some details about themselves, maybe they start filling out some profile information, well, you can instantly save it to the Moralis database and connect it to the user. If the user comes with many different addresses on many different chains, let's say that they have some NFTs on Binance chain, and then they have another wallet on Solana, and they have a third wallet on Polygon, Moralis allows you to connect all of these different wallets, all of these different addresses into one single user profile in the Moralis database. This is very, very powerful. And of course, the most important thing is ease of use for developers. This identity management solution is very easy to use because in your website, you just write moralis.authenticate and that's it. And here are a few examples. So Moralis.authenticate will bring up MetaMask. If you want to bring up Wallet Connect, you write Moralis Authenticate and then you specify the provider, Wallet Connect. If you want to log in on Solana platform, you cannot really see it now behind my, let's see if I stop the camera, it doesn't work. Anyway, behind my picture here, you can see Moralis.authenticate, and then you specify Solana. If you want to log in with Magic Link, which is basically a service that allows you to log in with Google, with Twitter, with Discord, and it will generate a user address, a Web3 address, you can also use Moralis.authenticate and just insert the provider. We also support Web3 Auth, and we're going to add more and more Auth providers. But all in all, no matter what kind of chain, no matter what kind of wallet, no matter what kind of Auth service, it is very, very easy to log in. And that's the whole idea. So now that you have logged in, you have the user in the Moralis dashboard, you have a web session established, so you can actually save things on behalf of that user, and you can have a secured connection between front end and back end. Next step is to fetch assets about that user. Because why do you log in a user? You log in the user maybe to show their information. And you want to do it in a way that is easy, where you yourself don't have to build a lot of backend. So where you yourself can just use a simple front-end SDK. And here is how it looks like. Let's say I want to get all my all the NFTs of my authenticated user. Well, I just write Moralis Web3 API.account.get NFTs, you get NFTs. You want to get the balances, you write Moralis Web3 API, get balances, you get balances. You want to get transfers, you get transfers. And as you can see, you can do it in JavaScript, you can do it in React, you can do it just having a curl request if you're using your own backend. You can use it in Unity game engine. So in case you want to connect it to your game engine, you can easily do that. So this is about fetching assets, logging users and fetching assets. You want to fetch assets on Solana, very easy. It is just Moralis.Solana API, get NFTs, and get SPL if you want tokens. So as you can see, you learn one tool, you learn one SDK, you learn one single technology, which is Moralis. You become instantly a cross-chain developer, because this really allows you to log in and fetch information about users, no matter which wallet, no matter which chain, without knowing any backend. That's the thing. You don't need a backend infrastructure team in order to do this. So think about it. You just wrote 5 lines of code, a few lines of code here to get the balances in Solana, a few lines of code here to get the balances on Ethereum, and you can do it on any other chain as well. And 1 line of code here to log in the user. So you wrote a few lines of code, and you basically have something that could resemble a wallet, at least a dashboard where users can see all their assets. I mean, this is what, for example, Zapperfy does. This is what Zerion does. And this is what you also can do now if you just learn a simple SDK, and that's it. So this is how easy it is, and this is how easy it should be. Because at the end of the day, why is it so difficult to do this otherwise? We're not asking for a lot. We're just asking for login and fetching all information. And that's really why we started Moralis, and this is our passion here, to make this Web3 more accessible, because it shouldn't be more difficult than this. And if you come from traditional programming, you do understand that Web3 really has a long way to go on ease of use when it comes to development. And we're hoping to provide that and solve that. So if you remember our checklist from the beginning, what you probably will need if you are in this hackathon, we said that you need to log in users. So we showed you that already, a whole user management system, cross-chain, cross-wallet, all of that. And I also showed you how to fetch assets, also cross-chain, cross-wallet, very, very easy. So next, we have to figure out how to watch real-time events, send assets, interact with contracts. And then I'll show you a few more things. So when it comes to fetching real-time alerts and real-time events, we have something we call Moralis Real-Time, which is a real-time indexing system which you can easily use if you use Moralis, where we monitor everything for you. As soon as the user is logged in, you have the database with the users here. And as you can see, you also have some entries here, like, for example, ETH transactions right here. Or if the user is active on many different chains, you're going to have Binance Chain transactions. You're going to have Polygon transactions. So this kind of database updates in real time when users do new transfers. So you log in a user, and instantly when they start doing transactions, you see it here in the Moralis dashboard. So that's very, very easy. And you can also specify that you want to watch specific smart contract events. So you can watch users, you can watch smart contract events. This can be, for example, in case you want to watch when something happens in an NFT marketplace, or when a token is transferred, or when something else fires. Basically any, in smart contracts, you have emit. That smart contracts can emit events. So you can listen to any one of these emit events in any smart contract. You can also do filtering. So that, for example, you can specify, hey, only give me events where the variable this is above some kind of threshold, or variable that is below some threshold. So for example, index trades, it can be only give me trades where it's above 100 ETH and below 1,000 ETH, for example. Or you can say, I want all transfers of this user only with the Bored Apes. It's very, very easy for you to do. So this is Moralis real time, and this is how you would do it. You would do some setup where you enter the ABI in the Moralis dashboard, and then in your SDK, you just write what you want to listen to, and you subscribe to it like this. And you're going to get socket. You're going to get real-time socket alerts into your front end very, very easily. So I would truly recommend you to go to docs.moralis.io and try it as soon as possible. So some examples, what you can do is that you can watch when users transfer tokens, when they do DEX trades, when smart contracts emit events, any on-chain activity, whether it's users or smart contracts, and so on and so forth. Really, the sky is the limit here, and you have to explore it for yourself, and you have to see this for yourself. So now that we explained how to watch real-time events, we have to speak about how to send assets. And it's very easy to do with Moralis because we provide SDKs across different platforms. So whether it is web, Unity, backend, we want to simplify not only logging in users, watching their transfers, getting their assets, but also that you can easily start initiating transfers. So we have Moralis.transfer, where you can easily transfer tokens, ETH, you can transfer NFTs, you can do whatever you want, but the whole thing here is cross-chain. So that when you want to add another chain to your dApp, it is still Moralis.transfer. So the way it works is that it is a very, very light wrapper on top of Ethers. And the reason it is like that is because it's very easy to then add other blockchains without changing how the whole thing works. Because if you just use Ethers, it's only for EVM. Then you go to Solana, then it's completely new. It's completely from scratch. And you have to learn completely from zero. With Moralis, you don't. With Moralis, you still use Moralis.transfer. So that's the power of transferring assets. And interacting with smart contracts is almost as easy. You specify the address, the name, and you write Moralis.execute function. And so this will be also a very thin wrapper around Ethers, but it's also cross-chain because soon we're going to add Moralis execute function, and it works with Solana, it works with other kind of blockchains. So this is the most important thing about Moralis, that it is ensuring that you don't have to worry about the specifics of different blockchains. Just like when you build a website today, you don't care whether it is Intel, whether it is AMD, whether it is some kind of ARM chip that is being the CPU of that machine. You don't care about that. Instead, you care about the use cases and the complexity and the specifics of the hardware you don't care about. Because if you would care about, which kind of CPU my user has when you want to build a website, you would never finish your website, all right? We would never have the efficiency and the results we have today in terms of what we can do with the internet if we didn't have these abstractions, removing all unnecessary complexity. And if you think about all dApps, no matter the blockchain, whether it is EVM, Ethereum, Solana, Elrond, Polkadot, whatever, they all need this. They all need this. So why should it be different? Why do you need to learn different interfaces when you just need the same thing, no matter on the different, no matter the different chains? So that's why it's so important. Cross-chain and cross-platform. So we do have official SDKs for React. We have official SDK for Unity, for Vanilla, and then we do have community SDKs for Angular, which you can find. And I think we have something for Vue. If not, we will have soon. We have some demos for Vue, but we will have more and more soon. And of course, we support many different blockchains about everything we said. But hey, let me take a sip of coffee. There is more, you know. But wait, there is more. There is more. What is more? Let's say you want fiat in your app. Okay, how do you do it? Let's say you want to allow your users to buy fiat in your dApp easily. With Moralis, you write one line of code. You write moralis.plugins.fiat.buy instantly. You have a pop-up in your dApp where your users can now buy crypto. They can buy different tokens with fiat. How does it work? Because of plugins. So Moralis is heavy focusing on plugins. So whether it is the fiat on-ramp or 1-inch integration. So with 1-inch, you basically write one line of code, which is moralis.plugins.swap. And you can swap any asset to any other asset because we have 1-inch integration. And the whole idea with integrations is to ensure that you don't need to worry about how different smart contracts work. Look, if I want to use Aave, I don't want to learn how Aave works. Okay, I don't want to learn the complexities of smart contracts, of lending, of derivatives. If I just want to create a loan, it should be just one line of code: loan.create. It should be loan.create, token.stake in order to stake it, to stake some token. This is the level of abstraction we need to get to as soon as possible in this industry, because all of this on-chain stuff is too complex and we're never going to go mainstream if it's that difficult to build applications. So that's very, very important. Now, some practicalities, guys, some practicalities. It's time to get your hands dirty. And the best way to do it, if you go to Ethereum boilerplate, you can just Google Ethereum boilerplate. You will find this repository. It's very, very popular repository, many stars on GitHub. And basically, this will have all the basics. For example, login, getting assets, showing assets on the screen. Basically, it's a demo, it's a starter project for all Moralis projects. So if you're building something with Ethereum, on Ethereum, which I think most of you do, go to Ethereum boilerplate and start experimenting. So that's number one. That's number one you should do as soon as possible. Number two you should do as soon as possible is to go to moralis.io/projects and sign up for Moralis projects. What is this? Basically, each week we build a project, a full stack project together. So this week, actually this Saturday, so last week, we build Web3 Metaverse using Solidity and JavaScript, kind of like Sandbox, where you can buy different plots of land and it's a UI and it's backend and it is a smart contract. So this is what we did this Saturday. Last Saturday, we did this one, Airbnb clone, where you have the Airbnb UI and then all of the rentals are on chain and you have the payments on chain and it's full stack. And a few weeks back, we did this one, Web3 shooter, Web3 first-person shooter, where you kill some boss, you get NFT reward. Full stack. It's all about full stack. And this week, we are going to do Angry Birds. This week on Saturday, if you sign up, if you go to moralis.io/projects, you sign up, we're going to show you how to build Angry Birds, where you pick your NFT as the bird, basically, that you use that in the game. So each and every week, you get a challenge. we have a community for building these different use cases. It is full stack. We give you lessons. We basically give you material to follow. You get instant feedback, and you win NFTs. If you complete this, you win amazing NFTs. So that's number 2. Moralis.io/projects. You should sign up now. Number 3 is that you should sign up for Discord, and you go to moralis.io/mage. Why? Because you become a Moralis mage. You become part of the community. You become a Moralis mage. So go to moralis.io/mage to join Discord. And number 4 is that you subscribe to Moralis Web3 YouTube channel. So this is important. I think it is the biggest Web3 dev channel on YouTube, because we push every day. We're soon approaching 100,000 subscribers, and it's only the beginning. So basically 4 call to actions. Number 1, if you are building, go here, Ethereum boilerplate, start building. Number 2, moralis.io/projects. Number 3, moralis.io/mage. And number 4, go to YouTube. On that note, guys, we are going to Q&A. This is all for the preaching, and it's enough of me preaching here. This is not about the monologue. As with everything Web3 related, we want to have some Q&A. We need some interaction, so that's why I will check your chats now, and then we take it. Yeah, exactly. You buy crypto with fiat. Yeah, exactly. You're correct. The coffee is like an RPC node. Take away his coffee. Exactly. Let's see. Exactly. Why terms should be used correctly? Everyone is slapping dApp everywhere. Well, dApp, what is a dApp? There are many different definitions. In my mind, a dApp is a full stack experience. So a dApp could be, for example, where you have OpenSea, it's smart contracts, it's front-end and backend. A dApp could also be without backend, but look, most of the big things today in crypto, they have a backend component, because the user experience increases a lot if you have a backend component. You can decrease fees. You can ensure that, for example, with OpenSea, you don't pay fees when you when you mint an item. You don't pay fees when you submit a bid. All of these things you almost take for granted, but they do require a backend component, and that's why we're speaking about full stack development. And that's why, really, if you want to build something that is smooth and that is nice, it needs to be smart contract back and front end. Let's bring back the screen, Patrick, as I think we will be sharing some screens. Thanks. So that's how it normally is. Now, you may say, I don't want any backend. I just want, pure decentralization, only smart contract and front end. But at the end of the day, if you do that, you still need to host front end. But yes, you can have many different people hosting the same front end. The problem with that is that you're more limited in what you can do, and your user experience is gonna suffer. So it's up to you. And it's a bit philosophical question. Which kind of use case will become global? Which kind of use case will become big? If you're speaking about the whole NFT space, in most cases, we have a lot of gray area in the NFT space, because a lot of metadata is centralized, a lot of metadata is not stored on chain, and it's all about who is either having the metadata server or who is gonna pin the IPFS metadata. So really, Web3 is not a space where you can be too dogmatic, where everything should be completely centralized, because it's not how it is practically. We can dream about everything being completely centralized, but we have to look at practicalities, and practically a lot of your use case will require a backend interaction. But the good thing is that you need to see what's on chain, what's off chain. And most important things are, of course, on chain. They're decentralized. All assets, all ownership, all of that good stuff is decentralized. It's on chain. Then if you need a backend component to make smooth interactions, it's fine. I mean, to me, it's completely fine, because it's not like you have a backend component that can completely go wild and take everyone's assets. That would be horrible. That's bad. But if you have a backend component that, for example, sends out push notifications, that, for example, sends out emails, that, for example, does some calculations, so it's easier to show in your front end. This can, for example, be, let's say you have a game and you need to show high scores in your game. How do you do that? You cannot do that just from front end. You need a backend in order to go and index the events, see what kind of people have played your game, have a table with the high scores. And that's very important. You can use the graph for that, but you still need to run, somebody still needs to run the indexer for that. So most likely you will have a backend, even for such a simple use case. If you want, look here, if you want to know the assets of your user, you need the backend component. You need, for example, either to use Moralis SDK, where you get this. Let me show you here, for example, because this is not something that you find on chain. You cannot get NFTs of a user address by just asking the node. There is some indexing that needs to be done. So all in all, this is the definition of dApp in my mind, that it's full stack. It is full stack solution. So I hope that makes sense. Is Moralis so Moralis is completely decentralized when it comes to your dApp. It doesn't centralize your dApp. Why? Again, all your assets are on chain. Everything that you care about is on chain. Moralis simplifies things, for example, by serving you the NFTs of your users. If you want, you can also build this functionality yourself by running, for example, the graph. And again, if you do it, you will end up having a backend infrastructure. So this is what we discuss here. It's theoretically possible, you can do it, but it's gonna take you months. You're gonna have a full backend team. You need a full operational team. So all of these things, if you want, you can always do them yourself, okay? Nobody does it themselves, but if you want, you can always do them yourself. So that's the most important thing with decentralization. Decentralization is key for assets. Then when it comes to APIs and the different other data solutions, you could theoretically do them, but in most cases, you will use different providers, just like you don't sync your own node. You trust external parties in order to connect to the blockchain. Do you verify their blockchain? Do you verify their history? You don't. So this is how it is. The good thing with blockchain is that assets are on chain. Everything else that is not as critical, we simplify. We simplify by, for example, connecting to external nodes or to external data providers. So that's how it normally works. So I hope that clarifies. This is all JavaScript. You can use any language, because let me show you here. Actually, you can use any language because many of the features, if you go to docs.moralis.io, why? Because many features are accessible via curl, basically with any language, because you can do a simple request like this. And this you can do in Python, you can do in Go, you can do in Java, you can do in C++, any language can do this. Or you can do this in JavaScript SDK, which we give you. But this is the raw request. You can do it in any language. Where are Moralis servers hosted? So soon you will be able to host yourself. We want to provide a self-hosted solution. We're working towards that. And right now you can choose yourself where you want us to put them, which region and all of that. Won't it be a single point of failure? Well, when it comes to single point of failure, you can have different ones. So once again, when it comes to assets and ownership, it's absolutely not. Absolutely not. When it comes to, for example, fetching the NFTs, if Moralis goes down, well, there are many other NFT providers that you can switch to as well. But the whole idea is either you build it yourself and ask yourself the question, do you really think that you will be able to run this? I mean, basically the infrastructure needed to do all of this better yourself, or whether it's better for you to connect, for example, to Moralis, where we do this every day and we have a full-time team just managing uptime, yes or no? So all in all, when you're thinking about whether it is a big risk to use a provider or not, you have to compare to something. And you have to compare it in this case to you yourself running this, all right? So this is how it is, and this is how normally you have to think about things. And ideally in the future, if you do want to run this, let's say that your dApp, here's the problem though. Let's say you're just starting out. For you to spend months and millions of dollars to run this yourself is a waste, because you don't even know whether your dApp will become big. Most likely, when it comes to ideas, you know that most ideas fail, most businesses fail, most startups fail. So when you're starting out, it doesn't make sense for you to spend millions of dollars and to have a full backend team to do all of this when you have different providers that can help you with this. And let's say your dApp becomes big, you are free at any time to go back and build this yourself. So Moralis doesn't centralize your project in any way. You're always free to go back, but it does give you superpowers. It does speed you up a lot. It does really make a big difference, especially at the start. And it will pay off massively if you learn it. That's key. And it's all about full stack. Full stack, cross-platform, and cross-chain. That's important. Can we use NFTs to authenticate login with Moralis? When it comes to, you can use NFTs in order to guard access to different features. So you can easily use the Moralis SDK to fetch the different NFTs of a user, and then based on that, you can allow them or not allow them to do certain things. But because you have, for example, let's say you're building a website where some pages are hidden for non-NFT authenticated users, you can easily get NFTs of a user like this, and either in your backend or in the front end, I mean, normally you would do this in your backend, you can see whether to allow the user or not to allow the user. I hope that makes sense. Are there any competitors to Moralis? Well, I mean, there are many different infra providers. There are many. So of course there are. You can use the graph. You can use different APIs. There are many. And look, we're not here. I don't like really to be thinking about in terms of competition, because we are integrating. Like I show you here. Let me see which slide. We don't really think in terms of competition because we're integrating all kinds of good services. Let's say someone builds a nice service, we integrate it. We're not competing. Like, for example, Covalent, great guys. They have great APIs. They have some overlapping features that we have, but we still integrate them and we still work together. Why? Because number one, they're great guys. Number two, this space is so big, there is no competition, okay? There is no competition because there are so many different chains, layer 1, layer 2, different abstraction levels. There's no way you can be the dragon that sits on this entire industry and you dominate it. Look, it's impossible. It's impossible. You gotta integrate. And that's why we're thinking, what is the best feature? What is the best way for our users, for our community, for our devs that use Moralis? For them, it's better that we collaborate with other infra providers, that we ensure that it's easy to use other infra solutions together with Moralis instead of competing. This space, if you want to compete, this space is not really for you. Why? Because it's a collaborative space. All right, this space is not really a lot about competition. It's about collaboration. So that's how we think about it. I mean, we never think about, these guys started a new API. People ask us sometimes this question: hey, Ivan, have you seen these guys? They have an API. They have an API. You guys have an API. Is it gonna be fight? It's gonna be battle? And we're always, no, why should we battle? Instead, we integrate them. So we have a nice integration. You want to use this, you want to use that. It's a free market. And when we integrate, we remove the friction. We ensure that it's easy to use for everyone. And this industry moves. And when this industry moves, we all become bigger. We all win at the end of the day when this industry becomes successful. So yeah, I hope it makes sense. I hope it makes sense. And that's the only way you can really do something big in Web3 is to collaborate. And by the way, go sign up for moralis.io/projects. It's very important. You get hands-on. You get hands-on experience building. And it's also good because let's say that you are in this hackathons a lot like this one. It's good if you imagine every week you build a project. Every week you build a project. You enter the hackathon. You are completely overpowered. You have such a big unfair advantage that you've earned. You earned an unfair advantage because each and every week you build projects with Moralis, full stack, with smart contracts, with backend, with frontend. You come into a hackathon like this, you dominate it. So think about your next hackathon and how you prepare for it. And I'm telling you, you prepare for it by going to moralis.io/projects. You sign up each and every week. We're gonna train you. We're gonna train your full stack Web3 so much you will be surprised yourself. You never thought that you can do things that you could do with the Moralis projects. How to fetch contracts that are not owned by the wallet, i.e. you want to suggest new NFT to user that they might be interested in via Moralis. Well, with Moralis, you can fetch all kinds of NFTs, not only connected to the account. I just showed you an account because it was a good flow, but you can, for example, go here to Moralis doc and you can go to web3api.token and you can see, for example, all the different tokens in a specific collection. All right. So this is very important. Like here, for example, get all tokens ID returns an object with number of NFTs and the NFT metadata for a given collection. All right. So you can basically look at the different. What I would do is that I would basically do a list of the different big collections. Maybe you have a list and you have the Bored Ape contract. You have punks. You have some other like this cats or whatever. You have a bunch of different NFT contracts. And then you can use Moralis to fetch information about them, like metadata and stuff like that. Then you save it in your database. Again, you need a backend component for this. Again, if you want to do something like the gentleman or the lady said about the recommending of NFTs, it's impossible without a backend component in an easy way. So then you fetch all the metadata, all the information, and then you can have an algorithm that decides that. So yeah, hope it makes sense. How does one require full knowledge of? You don't need to know ethers to use Moralis. That's the whole point. You don't need to use ethers because Moralis is a layer on top of ethers. If we ensure that you don't have to know the specifics of each chain, and ethers is specific to Ethereum. Your knowledge of ethers is not useful in Solana, and your knowledge of Solana is not useful in Ethereum. But Moralis, if you know Moralis, you're useful in both. So that's how it is. What prerequisites should one have before starting with Moralis? Good question. So you go here and you read about prerequisites at docs.moralis.io. So number one is JavaScript. You gotta know that. You gotta know Web3. So at least you should know what Ethers is. You don't need to know like full what Ethers is, but you should at least understand what it does a bit. But you don't need to know it in depth. You need to, of course, know MetaMask, and that's it. And then you need to have some text editor. That's it. Smart contract genius, Hussein. Okay, good. Can you elaborate on what? How often does Moralis check that blockchain information in the DB is accurate? For example, if a charge to an NFT is made on chain, how quickly does Moralis reflect? So it's a good question. You go here to, so it's a bit more technical now. You go to triggers here, and you can, for example, when it comes to transactions, you never know in a blockchain whether transaction is complete or not, because a reorg can happen. A blockchain can remove recent blocks and replace them with other blocks. So that's why as soon as something happens on chain, we tell you that. But we have a flag whether it's confirmed or not. So you get instant alert. You get instant socket here that you can do custom code. You can do anything, but you need to check if it's confirmed. Then it could be dropped. If it's not confirmed, it could be dropped. If it is confirmed, then it's not gonna get dropped. And look, in blockchain, everything is it's not 100%. Like even in Bitcoin, it's theoretically possible that even Bitcoin from yesterday, a block could be dropped. Theoretically possible, practically not possible. Okay, so confirmed basically it means that theoretically all blockchain blocks can be reversed theoretically, but many things are theoretical. Practically, after a certain number of blocks, you can count it as confirmed. And basically what we do is we use the same number of blocks that exchanges use. So if the number of blocks is fine for exchange, it's fine for us, because exchange lose money if they confirm a transaction without waiting enough. So that's how we do it. Yeah. How often does Moralis? Oh yeah, I checked that. Ivan is the most. Oh, guys, I'm blushing. Thanks a lot. Most underrated individual. I appreciate it. Okay, guys, more questions. If not, let me repeat some important call to action while I'm here. So call to action number one is to try Ethereum boilerplate. Call to action number two is to go to Moralis.io projects. Call to action number three is to go to Moralis.io/mage. And call to action number four is to subscribe to Moralis YouTube. Very clear. Thanks for changing my life. Damn. Dev Dusty. If I change your life, my day is complete. My job is done here if I change your life. Let's see, more questions. Well, I think we discussed most of the things today. On that note, I'm taking the final sip of coffee and we're going back to Patrick. Actually, we have 17. We should do something for 17 minutes though. Vag me, exactly. You know what? We've discussed this, we discussed that. I give you back 15 minutes. What can you do with it? You should go to Moralis YouTube channel and you should go follow. You should go to YouTube channel. You go to playlists here. And here you can watch Moralis projects. So here you can see the past projects we did, full stack. For example, the Airbnb one, the FPS, Netflix, the Metaverse, Web3 Spotify. This week we're doing Angry Birds. Oh, by the way, this is how it looks like. So you scan with your Wallet Connect, then you select your NFT, the bird, which NFT you want to use, and then and then you shoot the bird. So you're gonna be able to build all of this. Then if you go to Moralis Web3 YouTube, you go to playlist here, you find a lot of other playlists. For example, Solana. You want to learn Solana? You have a video here where you can learn about Solana. We're gonna have more videos. Right now we just have one. Or I think we have more, we just haven't added them to the playlist. I will add them to the playlist. Here is an important video if you want to learn Unity Web3 programming, Unity game engine with C#. Moralis is fully integrated. We're fully integrated into C# Unity. So all of the things we discussed right now in this video, they're all plug and play easily in our Unity SDK, and we have a full playlist here you can follow in order to learn. Next, an important playlist. So you go here to playlist, you're gonna see a lot of things. We have another playlist for programming projects, for example, cloning OpenSea, cloning Amazon, doing a DeFi dashboard on Avalanche. It's a lot, so you should definitely subscribe. Hi, Ivan, please take my question. What question did you do? Is Moralis... Also, we have a... So when you start Moralis, it's free. As you need more requests, let's say you need like 1 million requests for the NFT, then you need the paid plan. Like, of course, if you need a lot of requests for all of this, then you have to upgrade, because we are running this infrastructure and all these databases to make it happen. So hope that makes sense. And Joseph, actually in the chat here, he's gonna do more Solana videos. How long do the weekend projects usually take to complete? Well, normally it takes like a day. Let me show you actually. So when you join our Discord, and you do that by going to moralis.io/mage, because you become a Moralis mage when you when you join our community, and you scroll down, you see here we have building Web3 projects, a section, and here you have the different ones, like for example Netflix, Metaverse, and here you can see finished projects, and as you can see, people finish them a lot. And here's someone posting that they did the Metaverse one. Let me actually check. So the Metaverse is that you can basically select different tiles and you can buy them. You can claim them using the MetaMask, and it's all like a smart contract. So this one was the recent one. Here's another one. Someone built this Metaverse. Like you can trade different plots. This is how it works. So you can easily do it in a weekend. I mean, that's the whole idea, that you do it in a weekend. It depends, of course, on your skill. You don't have to finish in a weekend. It's up to you how long time you want to take. But if you've done a few, you can easily do it in a weekend. Where would you recommend an Angular developer to integrate Moralis? Well, we have vanilla. Let me see if we have something Angular. I know we had in the past a Moralis something. You can check this. Look, I'm not sure how well updated this is, because this is a community. This is a community one. We don't have an official Angular yet. We will have in the future though. But to be honest, if you are Angular dev, you should be React dev. I don't know why you're Angular dev. Be React dev. Look, there are so many. There are better things for React than Angular. So the best advice I can give you actually is to be a React dev. Of course, we want to reach Angular also. We will do that. But generally in Web3, a lot of things are for React. So if you are Angular, my career advice to you would be to be React. Okay. I mean, sometimes you gotta tell the truth. So, for example, another thing I didn't mention is that there is Web3 Ui Kit, which is fantastic UI components for Moralis, and you have different things, like for example the login one. So this is another thing you should check out. Web3 Ui Kit. You want to have UI for login. You want to have UI for NFT, UI for NFT balances. You get so much for free. But look, it's only for React. We will expand to others soon, but yeah, go to React basically. Some tutorials, exactly, that's true. Some tutorials are outdated, but the ones that are in Moralis projects are not outdated. So for example, this one's Moralis, let's see, programming, 1 second. This one, Moralis project. This one, they are recent. But yeah, I mean, we are adding new things. So when we do that, some things become outdated. But this one's Moralis projects, this one should be fully up to date. So I would recommend that. Can you list some of the limitation of any using Moralis? Well, I think that if you want to have a very, let's say your use case is to have high frequency trading, like you need very fast node connection, okay? You need very, very fast node connection. Then Moralis may not be the best. Then it may be better for you to do your own. But look, 99% of people don't care about whether the node request gives you a reply in 200 milliseconds or like 150 millisecond, all right? So if you have some specific niche use case, like for example that, it may not be the best. Why? Because we're focusing more on the full stack, which means layers of abstraction, which means that it's not gonna be as if you had your own node in the same data center as your other stuff. So that's an example, yeah. Is Moralis open sourced? If not sure, there's another risk regarding. So we will open source Moralis. We're moving towards, or it's gonna be like GitLab. So we're gonna have open core where most of the things are open source. You can self-host, and it's gonna be hopefully at the beginning of next year. The thing is, we want to have a very stable version before we do that, because if we open source now, it's going to be completely different very, very soon. If it is the case that we are going to add more stuff and improve it more and more and more. So that's why we really want to ensure that it's very good. And then we are going to have an open core version. Basically, most of the things you're going to be able to run on your own. And it can be a bit compared how GitLab works. You know, GitLab, it's open source, but there are some other components you can get. So this is how it's gonna be, and that's also how we're thinking in terms of funding the team, because as you know, developers, they have to eat and they have to survive. Okay, they cannot just code ad infinitum and that's it. So that's why Moralis is open source, or at least it will be, with an open core component. So open core is a better word for it. Yeah, hope that makes sense. Can you create a scalable? Absolutely, you can create a scalable DEX. What is a DEX? A DEX is smart contracts that have tokens in them, and that's it. And then you have a ratio between tokens. There's nothing that your backend needs to really do except for showing the UI and maybe showing some stats. A DEX is not very heavy in terms of infrastructure, because most of the operations are directly on chain. And the only thing you may need backend for is to show the stats, like for example, show the volume. It may take a lot of infra to do that if you are to do it yourself. Think about it. For example, Binance Chain, how many trades per second? It's many trades per second. And for you to show updated volume figures, like for each pair, it's a big task. Okay, it's a very big task. That does require backend. But other than that, when it comes to the actual DEX use case, like trading, there's no back. It's very, very little backend there. How fluent in Java? You don't need to be fluent in Java. You need JavaScript. JavaScript, not Java, but JavaScript. If your Angular, my career advice would be don't be Angular. Exactly. How well does Moralis integrate with IPFS? Well, I'm very glad you asked, because it's amazing integration with IPFS. It's so nice. It's one of the best. If you go here to Docs, you go to Files, you go to IPFS. Let's say you have a file and you want to upload it to IPFS, you just write save IPFS. And it shouldn't be more difficult. I mean, that's the thing. When we see this as Web3 developers, our mind is blown. That, you know, you have like a file picker, you show user file picker, and then you say save IPFS. Everyone's mind is like blown. But it shouldn't be like that, because it's simple stuff. I get the file, I save it on IPFS. So it should be one line of code. Should be file.save IPFS. Let's say you have some JSON or something. You have a JSON object. You do file.save IPFS. That's it. And you can easily fetch it. So you can fetch it using the gateway like this. Very, very easy. Very, very easy. And when it comes to the gateway, if you are, for example, building a website and you want to display different IPFS content, then Moralis is good. like we say here. But let's say you have a script. You have a script where you want to download like for all IPFS or something. Then it's better that you use Pinata or Infura, because Moralis is for showing stuff to the users. It's not for you to run like a massive backend script to download like 5 terabytes of data from IPFS, because again, Moralis is full stack. It's in order to build use cases. And if you want like a massive backend job, then we recommend you to just get a gateway in Infura or Pinata. Yeah. So that's how it is. Yeah. How does Moralis handle contract versioning for ETH and IPFS? I'm not too sure what you mean there exactly. Contract versioning, I'm sure you can easily do it. In terms of proxies, like you can set up a proxy easily. Moralis, the thing with Moralis is that it is more on the off-chain front. So you do your smart contract, you do the versioning and all of that, and then you can easily plug it into Moralis and it will read all the data. But maybe I misunderstand it. Look, if you go to forum.moralis.io, here you can ask anything and our team will answer. As you can see, it's a very, very active forum. If you have any question or anything beyond this video, you need to go here. So do we need to install? No. What install? I'm telling you, we're end to end. We're making it easy. We're making it smooth. What install? You don't install anything. You write file.save IPFS. Your job is done. No installing, no configuring, no nothing. You write .save IPFS and then you go and you take a coffee. And we put it on IPFS for you. But good question. So you recommend using the Moralis app instead of Pinata as our DApp. Is it pretty fast? Well, again, like I said, if you upload stuff using Moralis and you want to show that stuff to the users, then yes, Moralis is amazing. If you want to run go here to docs and you can read the use case. If you want to run a script, so basically Moralis is not for like heavy downloading 5 terabyte of IPFS content into your backend, then Moralis is not for you. Then you better use Infura or Pinata. So in that sense, it is a replacement for Infura and Pinata for the simple things like, for example, you want to upload a file, your users maybe mint NFTs or something, and then you want to show that on the website or in your game, then it's Moralis. If you have some heavy backend work, let's say that, I don't know, you want to download all images of all NFTs that were traded in the past 24 hours. It's going to be probably a lot of images you have to download. Then Moralis is not for you. Then you have to go and you have to use Infura. I hope it makes sense. Basically, whatever is like a use case for the user, where you have some front end, you want to show some stuff, then Moralis is for you. You have some, 10,000 requests per second load. It's not that. Will you have a discount code? Oh, we could have it, yeah. And so speaking about merch, so go to, if you join, look here. I need to tell Krashimir to post. If you join our Discord, you will see a discount code here in where should we put it? We should put it in welcome. Okay. Here in the introduction channel, Krashimir will put a discount code. So go and join our Discord, moralis.io/mage. And Krashimir, Joseph, can you please tell Krashimir to put here some discount code? $100. The first 10 people that see the discount code in this introduction channel can get $100 on our merch store. I recommend, let me see what I recommend. Is it not Beanie? No. Is it out of stock maybe? Maybe it's this one. But I want the pink one. I really like the pink one. I normally have it. But yeah, I don't see it now. Oh, guys, we have only 2 minutes. Look, on that note, we have the merch. It was very fun speaking to you all. Go to moralis.io. If you have missed, the website is moralis.io. You find all of the stuff here. Maybe it's a better explanation than I did, but probably not. You can, if you like text, you can see here. You can go to docs. If you like video, you can rewatch this video. And I see you all very, very soon. See you all in the community. See you all everywhere. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. And good luck with the hackathon. I hope you win the hackathon. I hope you get some nice, big, juicy prize. And yeah, over to Patrick. Thanks, Patrick.
Thanks so much for being here, Ivan, and good luck everybody in the hackathon. Thanks for being here. Take care.